A thinker from outside of AI, the whole conversation can help us see what the AI conversation is missing. Here's the tension that I keep coming back to. Every major AI company in the world is racing to build tools that can think faster, produce more, and answer questions before you have finished asking them. And almost nobody is asking what we lose when we stop doing those things ourselves. So I want to talk to you about that today. And I want to bring in a guide who saw this coming, not because she knew anything about artificial intelligence, but because she understood something about human attention that most of us have forgotten. Her name is Simone Weil, and she was a French philosopher, mystic, and activist who died in 1943. And I believe she is one of the most important thinkers you can read right now in the middle of all this AI turmoil. So here's what I observe in the professionals I work with, and honestly in myself during the moments I am not paying attention to how I am using these tools. There is a creeping sense that something is slipping, not productivity. Productivity is up, output is up, response times are down. By every measurable standard, AI assisted knowledge workers are performing better. Case in point. But something underneath the performance feels thinner. The ability to sit with a hard question without reaching for an answer, the capacity to read something difficult and let it work on you slowly, the willingness to not know yet and to find that tolerable, even productive. That thinning is real, and it is not a technology problem, it is an attention problem, which is exactly where Simone Weil comes in. Weil wrote something that stopped me the first time I read it and has never quite let me go. She argued that real attention, the kind that is fully present and fully receptive, is the rarest and most valuable human capacity, not intelligence, not talent, not productivity. Attention. Achtung. She described it as a kind of active waiting, not passive, not daydreaming, but the deliberate suspension of the self, a willingness to hold a question or a person or a problem without immediately imposing your own framework onto it. She wrote about this in the context of education, of prayer, of love, but the principle she was reaching for is universal. When you give someone your full attention, no phone, when you are truly present with it rather than processing it, something happens that cannot happen any other way. You receive what actually is rather than what you expected it to be. That is the difference between real understanding and just pattern matching. And here's what makes this urgent right now. AI is the most powerful pattern matching system ever built. It is extraordinary at taking inputs and producing outputs that look like understanding. But it does not wait. It does not suspend itself. It does not practice the active receptivity that Weil was describing. That is a human capacity, and it is the exact capacity that we need right now. Here is how I read Weil's insight applied to the AI age. Every time you reach for the tool, before you have given the question your own attention, before you have sat with it, felt its weight, notice what it stirs in you, you are making a trade. You are exchanging the possibility of real understanding for the speed of a plausible answer. And sometimes that trade is correct. Many questions do not require deep attention. Get the answer, move on. But the questions that matter most, the ones that shape your judgment, your character, your direction, those questions are damaged by that trade-off. They need kind of real attention while I was describing. They need you to wait, to pause. And AI by design makes waiting feel unnecessary. It is always ready, and it never says not yet, and it never says sit with this a little longer. That readiness is a gift, and it is a trap if you are not deliberate about when you use it. I am not suggesting that you put the tools down. I use them every day. What I'm suggesting is that you develop what I think is an attentional sovereignty, the deliberate practice of deciding before you open the tool whether this particular question deserves your attention. Some questions, open the tool immediately, routine, transactional, time sensitive. Other questions, sit with them first. Give them the active waiting while I was describing. Let yourself not know for a few minutes. Notice what surfaces when you stop rushing towards an answer. Then bring in the tool. Use it to extend and pressure test your thinking you have already begun, rather than substitute it for your thinking, which you have not yet done. That is the practice, Weil called full attention, quote, the rarest and purest form of generosity, unquote. She was talking about how we attend to each other, people, and to other people, but I think the same problem applies to how we attend to our own thinking. The most generous thing you can do for your own judgment in the age of AI is to protect the conditions in which you actually develop. That means practicing attention deliberately every day, not because AI is the enemy of thought, but because attention is the source of it. Simone Weil died at 34. She never owned a computer. She never sent an email. She never had an idea one day that humans would have access to tools that could answer almost any question in seconds. But she understood something that those tools cannot touch. She understood that the quality of a human life is determined not by how much we know or how fast we can access what we need to know, but the quality of our attention to what actually matters. That insight is not historical. It is not a curiosity from another century. It is exactly what this moment requires. If this kind of thinking resonates with you, the intersection of ancient wisdom and modern technology applied to how we actually live and work, subscribe. I publish here every week in some form or another. I'm posting every day. And if you want to go deeper into the reading between these ideas, I publish daily reflections on the Neosis Report over on Substack, and the link is below. See you next time.